$812 million liquidated from the cryptocurrency market in the past 24 hours. Is another huge liquidation event incoming? Let's analyze.
My crypto paradise.
Hello ladies and gentlemen of the Paradise Club, this is Simon from My Crypto Paradise. Welcome back, it's great to have you here. In this video we will go through weekly, we will go through daily and 4-hour time frame. But first of all I want to share with you something what happened during the latest drop to the downside. So you already know from the intro we have been liquidating over $800 million from the market. That's why you are seeing the open interest to start dropping like this, okay? We have decreased the open interest in the market. What kind of positions being liquidated? You can clearly see the net long positions from 13th of August. We have basically wiped almost everything. However, the short positions been increasing, all right? So we have got loads of long liquidations, all right, in the previous week, but the short positions been accumulating. They are right now hoping that the price will continue to go to the downside. However, you can see somebody backed the bottom already by these limit orders, all right? So loads of buy walls right below us. So what's gonna happen with the highest probability? Are we gonna have the next liquidation to the upside? You can see loads of liquidations right here at around $119,000. If you take a look at the liquidation heat map, it's nicely visible that visually you can see more liquidations are above us up to around $120,000 than below us. Below us it seems like everything important got already wiped out. If you take a look at the crypto trading sentiment that you can find on our website mycryptoparadise.com, we are at that 0.2, which previously worked as a bottom signal, all right? We are back at it. Right now, if you also take a look on our website at our crypto trading fear and greed index, we have a special one and you can monitor that with me on daily basis for free on our website mycryptoparadise.com. We are at that magical point 20. You know how 80 and 20 are important, and right now we are having fear in the market, all right? We are having extreme fear almost in the market, and the next obvious thing is going to be greed, all right? So you know that the 20 is also working on the fear and greed index as a nice bottom signal. If you take a look at the daily time frame, we are also nearing the number 20. So not many people are actually anticipating an upside right now, and from the contrarian point of view, this is actually bullish, right? Because you should be doing the opposite of what the herds are doing. If you take a look right now at the technical point of view on the Bitcoin, from the weekly perspective, you know that we are extremely bearish. Why? Because we have got this double top formation made out of two shooting star candlestick patterns right here. This one that been formed on 14th of July and the recent one right here. Both of them on an attempt of breaking above our magical level $121,000, which is one of the most important Fibonacci retracement levels, all right? So you understand that we are right now in the idealized wave corrective formation, where this was the A wave, B wave that can be extended or is gonna finish right here at $121,000, and then we will have the C wave that will take us towards $44,000, and before the end, early 2027, we will hit $240,000. So that's from the macro perspective. But right now, weekly time frame is really bearish because we are trying to break below this ascending channel, all right? So as you can see, two weekly candles already closed below the ascending trend line. Actually only one, this one still has time. We have around 5 days, 10 hours, and before we close this one with the probability below the ascending trend line, we need to have a nice reclaim. What does it mean? It's not enough that we just break below ascending trend line. If we want to have a successful reclaim of this channel, ladies and gentlemen, we will need a reclaim. That means also a retest, all right? Retest that this is no longer acting as a support. We need to have it retested, tested as a resistance, and then we can say with the highest probability that we are starting already first motive mode wave to the downside that will take us towards around $90,000, all right? This is extremely important confirmation that will tell us with the highest probability that we don't need to finish the ABC at $135,000, but that the $121,000 was already enough. All right, right now from the weekly time perspective, am I shorting the macro time frame with some huge leverage right now? I'm not, right? Because we are just retested the moving average orange trend line. So this kind of entry for a short position is not good. All right, there might be a better entry on retesting the VPVR that might confluence with retesting the ascending trend line and shifting it into a resistance. But we need to understand that the MACD histogram is having a bearish divergence, right? The price action is creating a higher high, but the histogram is creating lower high. And you know what we have been waiting for the confirmation of the blue line crossing below the red line. And as you can see, we have got this bearish cross. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at it, Paradisers. We are having a confirmation of this bearish divergence. If you are being educated on our website, ladies and gentlemen, about the bearish divergence, you know that this is one of the strongest ones, right? When the price action is creating a higher high, but the indicator is creating lower high, this is a strong bearish divergence. Ladies and gentlemen, it is already confirmed by the cross of the blue line below the red line, so be extremely careful on the weekly time frame. What kind of reclaim of the channel I'm talking about? We can actually take a look at it, what happened right here on daily time frame. So once we have been trying to reclaim this channel, you can see that we have been basically having the breakout, what we are having already on the weekly time frame. So we have broken to the downside with nice volume, right? You can see this volume candle right here, but it wasn't enough for the continuation, right? In order to say with the highest probability that if we continue to go lower, we need to have a retest as well. And that's exactly what happened right here on a nice bearish volume. This was a nice confirmation. I like this reclaim a lot. All right, so something similar might be cooking on the weekly time frame. Obviously, it doesn't need to be with such a nice movement. It can actually happen during this week, so this candle will look somehow differently than right now. Probably a wick tail you will see right here retesting the ascending trend line if we are bearish. If we will start reclaiming it back, however, we are actually looking for the $135,000, but I will tell you right now why this is with a lower probability. Because right now from the daily time frame, what we can look at are the subwaves, right? So you already know that in the channel we are creating a zigzag formation. A, B already created. The A and C wave are motive mode waves, as you know from our website market2paradise.com. If you are educating yourself in our MCP Free University, the C wave is also a motive mode wave. That means it's not a straight line. Actually, it subdivides itself into 5 smaller waves, right? So the first wave happened right here. Then we have got the secondary wave, third wave, then a fourth wave, and then we have been actually discussing if this is just a first wave of that fifth, because the fifth one is also motive mode wave. That means it subdivides itself into 5 smaller waves, and because the $135,000 nicely confluence with one of the rule of Elliott's, actually just a guideline that the A wave is a similar length, is the almost same length as the C wave. It nicely confluenced with few other indications that the $135,000 might be hit, and it still might be hit, but right now I will explain to you why this is with a lower probability. Because we have created 5 moves to the upside right here, so this itself might be the 5th wave, right? After that, we thought this might be a secondary wave, but because we have already closed below it, this previous daily candle closed below the previous low, now it's actually decreasing the probability by 99% that we have the 5th wave extension, and actually we have just got a basic 5th wave that being concluded by this movement to the upside. So what are we creating right now, and why do I have this arrow right there? So let's take a look on a 4-hour time frame for us to be able to understand what's going to happen next with the highest probability. Right now you can see after we have finished the 5 moves to the upside, the 5th wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where the 5th wave was an extension, we have started to create also 5 moves to the downside. This might have been the ABC zigzag, right? But after we have closed below below the previous low right here, it was invalidated that this is the secondary wave. So we have came up with a nice new count where this was the first wave, secondary wave. So instead of A and B, this is first and second, right? Then we have got a third, fourth right here, retesting the top of the first wave, and then a fifth wave that finished right here at our demand zone. Ladies and gentlemen, right now I have also created this Fibonacci time extension by connecting these two waves, fourth and fifth, from the higher degree perspective, and it gave me this nice Fibonacci time extension, and it can actually tell us when the trends will be changing, right? So we have had this downtrend after we have hit the Fibonacci time zone level. We have got some uptrend after we have finished an important Fibonacci extension. We have got a downtrend, and right now we are attaching an important Fibonacci time level 0.618. You know that this one is most important, right? So in a perspective of finishing the 5 moves to the downside and this Fibonacci time extension, there is a high probability that we might have some upside movement for the next 7 days, ladies and gentlemen, alright? And given that this demand zone that is finishing at around $107,000 will keep on holding and we will not close any 4-hour candle below it, alright, we might have an upside movement. The trend might be changing, and what we will be actually creating is a secondary wave. Because if we are starting the impulse, ladies and gentlemen, to the downside towards $90,000, we need to follow the wave's structures, right? So there might be a possibility that we have created already the first wave, and right now we will have the secondary wave towards 0.618 Fibonacci extension or 0.786 Fibonacci extension. So right now we are also having what is bullish on the 4-hour time frame, on the medium time frame, is that we are also having bullish divergence on the RSI indicator. As you can see, we are creating lower lows on the price action, but the momentum indicator RSI is creating higher lows. Alright, so again, as you know from our website mycryptoparadise.com, this is a classic bullish divergence when the oscillator is making higher lows but the price action is creating lower lows. What does it mean? The bearish momentum is decreasing and the bulls might start taking over. Given that we are also at the demand zone, given all of the things I have been talking about right here, right, and also what we have been looking at right here, the short positions might be taken next, ladies and gentlemen. And you already know what we have been discussing, that some liquidation pools are positioned below $120,000, right? So there is a high probability that we might be right now, if the demand zone will be holding, going towards this resistance level, maybe even this one, alright? And for the next 7 days, if that's gonna confluence nicely with some of these resistance levels, we might after that see a retrace to the downside, and it will be the third wave, right? So with the highest probability right now, we might see a pump to the upside, alright, if this demand zone is going to be holding, and for the next 7 days, we might be pumping either to this resistance or this resistance, and after that, we will start creating the third wave, yeah? So right now, we are in the impulse with the highest probability. Until we can break above the previous high, we are in a bearish structure. We are already in a bearish motive mode wave, and this might be the first wave. Right now, we are about to create the secondary wave. It needs to be also some corrective mode wave pattern. So again, on our website mycryptoparadise.com, in the MCP3 University, we have created for you in the Elliott wave section a detailed textbook examples of Elliott wave corrective mode wave patterns. Alright, so once you see that one of them most likely is going to be zigzag, that's usually a secondary wave, and we are also hitting one of the resistances and the Fibonacci time zone. So once you see the pattern concluding together with confluence in the time zone or some resistance, it should be an immediate warning sign for you to start taking a look at a new direction. Ladies and gentlemen, right now the probabilities are clear. I hope you are enjoying these videos. Smash the like button if you do. Also, you need to understand that if we go to the upside, we probably will close the CME futures gap that is being closed once we hit around $118,000. All right, so also this CME futures gap that we have made on the weekend should be closed. If we will be going to the upside, I do believe it might be fully closed before we will start doing the third wave, if our Elliott wave count right now will be working fine. Together with the upside movement, we will be retesting the ascending trend line. So obviously, once we will be hitting the resistance levels with Paradise Family VIPs, we will be looking at some short exposure. Ladies and gentlemen, play it strategically, play it with a nice tactic, focus on long-term survivor, don't try to get rich quick, alright, otherwise you will burn your capital. Don't try to be a gambler, play it like a professional, and I will see you again on Thursday. Cheers.
My crypto paradise.